final team standings. United States of America, 219 points. They pick up the first ever Global Platinum Trophy here in London. Poland, 162 points for second. Great Britain and Northern Ireland, 155. But the United States of America are the winners over 2 wonderful days of competition.
Yeah, untouchable, Catherine, and they celebrate in big style. $450,000 to be shared between that squad. Not bad for a weekend's work, or perhaps one day's work in most cases. They are the undisputed world's most powerful nation in track and field athletics, and they very much lived up to that status with their performances consistently from one discipline to another over these last 2 days. Really good contest for the minor places, and Great Britain just losing out to Poland come the final couple of events, taking 3rd place behind the Poles, and Jamaica weren't far behind, 2 points behind Britain in 4th place after all of that action. So it was really, really tight, wasn't it? They've got their American footballer complete with helmet and rather spindly little legs, if I might say so, out on the track to celebrate things for them. But Tony, just quickly, a final comment from you after a couple of days of great contests.
I think it's good. I think the nation approach to a competition like this, I think, is really good. From that, it's been interesting. We've seen it being a great opportunity to blood some of our younger athletes, for them to actually have an opportunity to represent Great Britain and their respective nations. So from that point of view, it's a good type of competition, I think.
Get that man a motorbike. Kath?
Well, I've enjoyed it thoroughly. You know, it is the inaugural World Cup event here in London at this stadium. And the USA showing their depth that they have. New names have been sprung upon us the last couple of days from all the 8 nations that have taken part. But the Americans, well, they were solid. They led after day 1 with 109 points. They come home with the trophy with 219. It really has been a wonderful couple of days of action for them. And if you break it down into individual sexes, the women's points only, well, the USA won that battle. 103 points from Great Britain, Northern Ireland, and Jamaica in a women's only points scoring system that we had going. And the USA won the men's points, 116, led home by Poland and South Africa in 2nd and 3rd. That's if you break it down into male and female. But what matters is it's the United States of America that are taking home a trophy that is worth a lot of money, because it's 6K of solid platinum.
Well, it's hard to pick out individual performances, isn't it? It's after 2 days of great action. It is a team competition. I think on day 1, of course, Haratik's winning shot put 21.95 was big for Poland. Wlodarczyk of Poland as well, winning the hammer 78.74 was special.
Yeah, what I've enjoyed seeing, Tim and Tony, is the return of London World Champions from last year. We had so many today alone, didn't we? Gong of China in the women's shot put, Sam Kendricks kicking us off in the men's pole vault, returning back to a stadium that they really do enjoy competing at. And look at that, it's a sea of stars and stripes, isn't it? The podium's been set. They're coming up to accept the trophy. Well, they've said it's about the track, the field, the world, and the USA deservedly picking up the trophy. Women's 200 metres was a good race though, wasn't it? I know you enjoyed that one, Tim, but there's Sam Kendricks in the centre of your shot. Clayton Murphy, he ran well, didn't he, over the men's 800 metres as well.
I mean, the Americans turned up with real quality, didn't they, Tony? And that's what's, I mean, look at, you've got Devon Allen there 5th in Rio, you've got Sam Kendrick 2nd in Rio at the Olympics, Clayton Murphy 3rd in Rio at the Olympics. You know, their squad was oozing real class.
I think so, but again, the US don't have that championship coming up in 2 or 3 weeks' time. We have the European Championships coming up, so a lot of athletes will have focused, saying, look, I've got a championship competition coming up, this team thing doesn't quite fit me, but it fits the US.
Yeah, Seb Coe there, president of the IAAF on site. He was in Rabat with me on Friday night, so he gets his travelling done as the president. What a good job he's doing down there from the headquarters in Monaco.
No points from the men's 4x400 metres, which would normally have been
frustrating that for the Brits, wasn't it? That 4x400, quite bizarre. Have you ever seen that before, where the athlete's out on the track and then 3 guys are pulled off because one injures himself?
That's a team management thing. You got to remember, Rabbi Youssef ran the 4 individual. You've got Di Green out there. You must have at least 6 guys warm up together, just in case of that eventuality. So,
well, 5 should be the least should warm up.
You normally have 6, and when you consider how much Great Britain invests in relays, it seems a little bit of a schoolboy error.
So a few thousand people have stayed, which is nice.
Ladies and gentlemen,
as we now get to the presentation then of the Athletics World Cup in 2018.
Council, CEO Paul
the beautiful
Wilson,
medals,
Programs Manager Andrew
the beautiful trophy, and a $450,000 beautiful check as well for the American team.
Richard Bowker.
I bet they've already done the maths too, each of those American team members. What's my share of 450 grand? Ka-ching!
We were saying there's a couple of athletes in the teams that did more than one event as well, wasn't there, Tony? Yeah, you double in.
If you've run relay and you've done a track event, do you get 2 shares?
Kendall Williams,
that's a very good question. We'll go to our statistical. Oh no, he's only does athletics stats, not money stats.
Kenny Selman,
there might be a few discussions, let's say, for the American team management to sort out.
Curtis Thompson, Daryl Hill, Reggie Jager, Rudy Winkler, Sam Kendricks, Kendall Williams.
We're going right the way through the American squad. What time does the sun come up?
Jeff Dents, Kamari Montgomery, Paul Dedewa.
There's Sam Kendricks, another good day at the office.
Obi Ogbokwe,
Clayton Murphy stepping up as well. Each nation competed for the $2 million prize pot over these 2 evening sessions here under the lights in this groundbreaking 2-day event.
It is really significant to that point. Going back to that point you made, Tony, about how the Americans don't have a major championship to aim at in the coming weeks. You know, all the European nations do, of course. The Germans have their championships this coming weekend, next weekend. Then they have the European Championships in the Olympic Stadium in Berlin a couple of weeks later. So everybody's got their own goals, but the depleted German squad is very, very understandable with their own championships and so much resting on those championships in a week's time.
Oh, I think the Germans, if you look at them as a nation, and I don't mean this in a derogatory fashion, they've underperformed at the last couple of Olympic Games in terms of potential medals and what they actually achieved. So a home games is critically important. You can't, you know, they're looking to try and top the placings table and top a medal table at home in the iconic Berlin Stadium. So yeah, you're going to look at it as a team leader, performance director, and look at that team and go, yeah, we'll pick this team, it's developmental, we want you guys fit and healthy for the trials, then we want you fit and healthy for the championships. Because it's desperate where funding's concerned. If you're going to have the budgets, if people are going to stay in jobs, you want the best team out. And again, it draws the crowd. It'll draw that German crowd. That stadium full is a fantastic stadium to compete.
It's the best stadium in the world, and we'll forget for a moment who built it, but it sinks into the ground about 50 or 60 feet, you know, so as you walk along the concourse across the ground outside the stadium, coming towards the stadium, this massive hole in the ground, almost like a volcanic cone, the hole in the volcanic cone opens up below you with beautiful blue track. I mean, it is a special stadium.
I mean, and its future's in a bit of dispute, actually. I mean, they revamped it for the World Cup football when it was done, but it looks like the team that plays there, Hertha Berliner, were looking to get rid of the track, and I know there was a campaign to keep the track in there, and they certainly asked people like Jessica Ennis, who won her first world title in that stadium, you know, to campaign and help them keep that athletic identity in there. It's the Jesse Owens Stadium, so historical.
Isn't it fitting too that, you know, that stadium is remembered for Jesse Owens' wins in the 36 Olympics, not by the guy that had it built with a little moustache, a rather silly little moustache, and also for Usain Bolt's exploits in 2009 when he set a couple of world records. You know, both of them very, very special for different reasons, those two athletes. Owens is back in a different era altogether.
Yeah, no, absolutely, definitely. The history in that stadium, it's a fantastic stadium, it's a fantastic athletics venue, you know, these are things that hopefully we need to support the German Athletics Federation and say that track needs to stay, because that is a place we want the World Championships to return to, I'm sure, and maybe even this World Cup competition goes there, the Intercontinental Cup, we should have fixtures in there regularly.
The trophy is being handed over. Careful, Seb, it's worth a lot of money. Queen Harrison, the team captain, but last night the American team decided to make Darrell Hill the co-captain for today's action after his second place finish in the shot put. There he is on the left, the shot putter. So Darrell Hill, Queen Harrison, the Athletics World Cup 2018 champions.
Deserving champions, the USA, no doubt about it. But what I remember from this weekend, Catherine, is wonderful competition on track and field in every single discipline.
Indeed, a wonderful 2 days of action at the inaugural Athletics World Cup event here at the London Stadium. Myself, Catherine Merry, Tim Hutchins and Tony Minichiello have been delighted to bring you the action here from the English capital. America celebrate, and quite rightly so, the champions.